Perfect. After a grand touring of open mic poets taking us everywhere and back again, we're here in the present moment, and I'm going to introduce one of my favorite poets, Mr. David Erdreich, who is a remarkable, talented individual. Multiple talents this guy has. You know what I mean? He is a well-regarded poet, singer, musician, and long-standing supporter of the grounds. David is a well-known poet hailing from the East Bay. He's also a musician. He can do a sax proud. He's a singer-songwriter and can sing his heart out. He's a very clever writer, quite entertaining to boot, and uses humor to good purpose. He's a good read, as they say. And so I am looking forward to a great evening with him as our feature.
I'm going to start with a piece I wrote for my mother, which I have never written anything for her, and she was really seminal in my life. So, the smartest thing my mother did was provide intelligent learning opportunities for me and my sisters my whole life. School, camp, music, swimming, challenging games, books to read, the ability to think and determine things for ourselves. When I was 7, she moved from Brooklyn to Poughkeepsie with my father, and she was a birder when she moved to Poughkeepsie. And when I was 7, I would peruse Roger Tory Peterson for hours, and I can still remember almost most of the birds I see. When I see it on the page, I know where I saw it first. Vivian was not only well self-directed, she also had a very positive attitude, which in a gentle way reflected on all those around her. A fabulous cook, which he learned and improved upon from my grandmother. My mother and father, Vivian and Ulysses, Yulie and V, had a special, wonderful, loving relationship. Because her parents had bickered when she was growing up, my mother determined she was not going to argue with her partner. In both parents' families, where children were born at home, each of my parents had 2 older siblings, but each was actually the 4th child, as the 3rd child died at birth. Growing up in the Depression, butter was a luxury. Sometimes my mother would grab a pat and sneak under the table to eat it. When I started college, but my 2 younger sisters were still at home in high school, my mother, who was the only one in her family to attend and graduate from college, CCNY, decided to go back to school, get an advanced degree, and become a librarian. Initially, my father was opposed to this. He was afraid he would lose the services of this fabulous cook who made him dinner every night. My mother put her foot down and prepped the food daily and left it for my sisters to complete the meal. When my maternal grandfather died in Brooklyn, my grandmother came to live with us in Poughkeepsie. At the end of her life, when my grandmother became bedridden in the hospital, my mother visited her daily until her death. My mother acted as the wise counselor for her elder sister's daughter, 15 years her junior, giving sage advice which was followed concerning marriage, divorce, and potential abortion. On the other side of the family, the eldest daughter of my father's older brother, 10 years younger than my mother, learned cooking as a young adult from her Aunt Vivian. When my father died and I sat shiva with my mother, we also discussed her feelings of guilt about not doing more for her own father before his death. He suffered from a degenerative nervous system caused by lead poisoning incurred as a house painter. I got her to let go of those guilty feelings. 2 years later, when my own 4.5-year-old son died of spinal meningitis, it was my mother who helped me let go of my sorrow in Wellfleet, Cape Cod, with long solo walks and counseling from her. My mother volunteered time with local Down syndrome children. It was where I learned to understand and respect differences, particularly among children with disabilities. My two sisters and I are less than 4 years apart. Before I reached my teenage years, the whole family would go tent camping across the country for a month in the summer. We did this 3 consecutive years. My father had the Wanderlust, and so do I. When we were very little, there were at least a dozen liberal-minded Jewish couples in Poughkeepsie of my parents' age who would meet regularly at our house to discuss national and world issues. They probably met at our house because my mother was such a great cook. There were 3 other really good cooks in that group, but they always met at my mother's house. Although it is not often apparent, I learned civility, patience from my mother, and a deep respect and caring for humanity from both parents. Okay, and this I read a couple days ago. This is for Clara Sue. Sacramento wavers into Waverly. Oh, heed the clarion call, the herald and the trumpet. Pronounce and give their all. This building is historical. Its rafters touch the clouds. The ancient and the modern pluck their strings or read aloud. These are not geese that gaggle, nor crows gathered to murder. To understand indigenous poems, you need not be a birder. Yet every language ever struck will bring its reader endless luck of civilization, perpetration, perpetuation, examining each situation, detailing news from near and far, opens our hearts to raise the bar. Fingers, stylus, merge to craft, uplift spirits, blow first draft. Not understated, nor held aloof. Herein, words just speak their truth. The vacuum demon is on the loose. She snatches feathers that fell from the goose. The vacuum demon is hot on the trail. She sucks up the ashes that fall from the pail. That loud vacuum demon will give you a fright. She vacuums all day and half into the night. She vacuums the house. She vacuums the boat. She's plucking the particles mote by mote. The dog is in terror. The cat gives a hiss. No iota of filth or lint does she miss. All in a lather, on end stands her hair. She vacuums the curtains, the couches, the chairs. Onto the worksite she's prone to meander, follows the carpenter using his sander. Steam from her ears shows how much she cares. She vacuums the carpet, the risers, the stairs. She springs to the wall and vacuums the painting to capture the dander and keep us from fainting. She jumps to conclusions, sweeps the space in a trice. She vacuums the dog for his fleas, ticks, and lice. She's so energetic, she does the room twice. In an instant, this demon can move like a flash. She ferrets out fungus and mold where it's stashed. The mice have all scattered. The rats hug the wall. She gathers their droppings to sell at the mall. Caught in a dither, I haven't a clue. Is there nothing her vacuum can't do? Known in the neighborhood as the sweep queen, she vacuums my dentures. Asleep as I dream. She vacuums each leaf, writ by old Dr. Seuss, then down to the station vacuums caboose, or vacuums the diseases that Pandora let loose. After each sortie, she empties the bag, shines and polishes countertops with a wet rag. Take off your shoes, you're tracking in dirt. She just vacuumed the rug. Now her feelings are hurt. Will this fiend never tire? Will this dream relent? She even tries vacuuming beams the sun sent, and with a toothbrush cleans the cement. Now don't be offended and don't be alarmed. when she vacuums your bracelet and all of its charms. The vacuum demon dropped some stitches trying to vacuum mud from ditches, got reduced to stutters, twitches, cavorting with whirligigs, dust devils, witches. With a bucket of blood and a towering rage, she vacuums the library page by page, clamping down on the dragons with their party of tacos. No vaping, damn the snuff, absolutely no tobacco. Dust bunnies bound on the floor. She hunts them down, she's keeping score. She's bound to arrest them before they make more. Beatrix Potter smacked her otter, said, "Stop vacuuming my daughter. Bolt the door, set the lock, there's crud depending from your socks." She vacuums the crumbs off the dinner table. She vacuums the ceiling whenever she's able. In an endless round of legerdemain, she vacuums the tears. She vacuums the pain. The puppies tend to urinate. You'll slip, you'll slide. Bump your pate. She had just vacuumed there of late. This leaves her in a bewildered state. Finally, cleaned up the mess. She claims she is finished and will now take her rest.
I like that one.
From The Wisdom of the Idiots by Idris Shah. This was by Yusuf, Y-U-S-U-F, Hamadani. Nothing for man except what he has earned. The superior experience and knowledge will be made available to a man or woman in exact accordance with his worth or her worth, capacity, and earning of it. Hence, if a donkey sees a melon, he will eat its rind. Ants will eat whatever they can get a hold of. Man will consume without knowing that he has consumed. Our objective is to achieve, by the understanding of the origin, the knowledge which comes through experience. This is done, as with a journey, only with those who already know the way. The justice of this state is the greatest justice of all, because while this knowledge cannot be withheld from him who deserves it, it cannot be given to him who does not deserve it. It is the only substance with a discriminating faculty of its own, inherent justice. Nothing for man except what he has earned. This one is for Avacha. It's called Hauling Ash. Return of the 4 a.m. truck driver, 9 years of complete subjugation, obedience to every whim and suggestion of a fickle road offering adventure and travel at a very cheap and desperate price. Selling your soul to concrete, gravel, and rebar in return for very little sleep, no social life, the right to retrieve garbage, pressure to deliver the goods on time while operating a lethal vehicle. Dump truck equals all the symbolism of unload and reload, shit and eat, driving cross country in a vehicle which basically never stops, eating paste. I mean, potatoes, mashed, really? More like thick soup which has been steam table reheated at least 5 times. You think it's warm in California? Not at 4 in the morning, 12 feet up in the air, dropping a hook at the end of a chain through wire mesh grid. Think of it as heavy sewing, which if you try it for more than half an hour, your fingers start to numb. It helps if your mandatory health insurance takes 20% off the top and your boss is either a stone-cold racist, the local familia, or a short, older black man who could rebuild the engine from scratch, yet constantly shortchanges you because addition and subtraction are beyond his ken. If you are unaware of the exact route and your load is too high, you can either get stuck under an overpass or tear out the roof of some filling station. Winter options in a tractor trailer include looking to either side and watching your trailer, still attached, precede you down the road, following the taillights in front of you in heavy fog until someone stops suddenly, at which point everyone stops suddenly. Hazardous materials can be delivered or removed from Rocky Flats, Colorado, or new building materials can be brought to existing nuclear power plants in California, which lend themselves to a certain glow. Make sure your no-fault insurance is paid up. Driving with cracked wheel rims, worn studs, faulty or flaming brakes are all frowned upon by the California Highway Patrol. You'll notice that on some tractors accustomed to hauling rebar, there's a steel wall directly behind the cab. This is to prevent inept crane operators from impaling you with the product as they attempt to remove it from the trailer. Here are some other fun chores you might want to try. One, running out of fuel in a diesel engine right where Route 580 branches to 2 lanes to become Route 80 at rush hour. Number two, having the airline on your transfer, that's a dump truck double. Spring a leak at 5 a.m. in the morning on the San Mateo Bridge, which immediately causes the brakes to lock on the rear unit, so you can jerry-rig it with whatever thick, sticky substance and duct tape you have available, limp off the bridge, and wait for assistance. Number three, drive the boss's truck across the Bay Bridge in the morning commute as the transmission linkage gets loose, leaving you only one of your 18 gears fully loaded. Make it through 7 traffic lights. Stopping means you won't start again. Arrive at the work site to be unloaded while you call the boss and relate to him that he didn't notify you of all his vehicle's idiosyncrasies. 4. Stay completely unaware of the fact your dispatcher is shortchanging the owner of your refrigerator truck. Wait for 9 hours in Nogales to get loaded with broccoli packed in ice, and when you finally back up to the loading dock, get yelled at and asked, "Where the hell you been?" Extra credit can be earned by getting a flat tire, driving onto the scale in Georgia, 11:30 p.m. Friday night, loaded with frozen chickens, taking curves a little too fast, causing third-class mail bound for Houston, Dallas, and LA, divided flimsily by separators, to mix together, getting stuck in a snowbank in Albany, New York, and shoveling out by hand, or dumping hot asphalt onto the ground instead of into the paving machine, pushing you along in low gear, foot on the brake and accelerator together, ever so lightly to maintain contact. It stops, you keep rolling, and finally, for the premature ejaculators in the group, there is an art to simultaneously accelerating gradually from a standstill while hydraulically lifting the bed, opening the tailgate, and evenly spreading your load in motion, making it easier for your partner in the greater, not dumping it suddenly all in one place. Forklift is your friend, unless you forget to turn it off when dismounting to the ground to adjust whatever you're picking up, which is how one single father of a 7-year-old girl managed to run over and kill himself. Another night operator, unloading the freight car still on the rails in the shed, found himself impaled to the wall through the stomach until the morning shift arrived. Albertsons wisely saved money compared to Safeway by not hiring anyone or any forklifts to download trucks. They generously left pallet jacks for the trucker to do the work for which he is not paid during a time span when he is expected elsewhere. P.S. Minimum tow for a disabled big rig is $500. I'm not going to get to not going to get to uh, acute set of mutes. Sorry about that. Last night I heard me two trombone. Another time. I'm going to end with this. Dan Brady, Captain Catalyst. We are poets. We have a mandate, a code of ethics. Sound bends, ideas emerge and merge. The tap of your toes is as poignant as off the top of your head. Not to superimpose, but to teach if asked, to lease the crease and bring others into the fold. Planetary custodians, well for a day, and that's no fluke. Threading the orb of absorb, the power of the word. But more important is the active verb. I'm done. Thank you.
Well done.
Wow.
Folks, unmute. Unmute. Let 'em
Great
hear.
reading, Dave. The autobiography.
Hey,
Great
Wow.
work.
Yeah.
Great work. Great work.
Good work.
Yeah.
Now we're experts on truck driving.
Yay. Yay.
Oh, that was fun.
Wow, all those adventures.
Good. That's good.
Purpleists.
Mm.
And that piece always amazes me because, like, the number of casualties in that
Yeah.
piece.